My name is Neeharika Munjal. I've been born and raised in the Boston community, so I've been here all my life. So for education, I've done my schooling in town called Andover, Massachusetts. Then I went to school in Boston University for a health science major and a minor in business administration and management. So over there, I learned about healthcare operations and what really goes on in making communities healthier. So that was really cool. And then afterwards, I started working in healthcare professionally, where I was able to do a lot of administration work in hospital operations in a few groups like Beth Israel and Encompass Health. So basically, when I graduated early, I graduated in 3.5 years. I just felt lost because I didn't have many of my friends to, have company with. And, I was just put in the real world in such an early age. And I was like, how do I navigate this? How do I make connections? How do I, make friends outside of my everyday friend group? So when I did a lot of market research, because I feel like doing a lot of social media outreach is a lot better. Sorry. And I just feel like when I saw a lot of social media presence, I didn't see anything for Indian youth, and I didn't really see anything for Indian professional networking. I know in this community there was a lot of auntie uncle charity and cultural based organizations, but there was nothing catered towards the youth. And I was like, why is there nothing like that? Like, why are we depriving ourselves from this opportunity? So I saw there was an issue with the Indian youth that we need a networking platform, and that's why I started Young Indian Professionals of New England. I started in April of 22. And I was like, you know what? If it fails, it fails, but I learned something out of it. But if it helps people, then that'll make me so much happier. So I started this with no intentions in mind. I consider myself an accidental entrepreneur because I had no idea what I was doing. But little did I know that this was something that a lot of youth in the Boston area was facing. And this was just really an enlightening process because I didn't realize that a lot of youth were wanting this platform. So I started this with no intentions in mind, created a quick logo on Canva, and created a Facebook group, which I kind of regret. I should have gone Instagram first. But again, that got me a lot of audience members. And 3.5 years later, I have 10,000 plus members now on this platform. I have had a lot of initiatives such as the South Asian Founder Circle. I have a YouTube channel that highlights professional success stories. I host a lot of networking events, both small and large scale events, which all have sold out, which is crazy to me. A lot of people have made connections and has jobs, made friends. Um, and yeah, it's just been a really cool journey. And I feel like this is really bringing the Indian youth to the next level and how we can strengthen our community and how we can make this a better place for us South Asians. Honestly, starting an initiative and organization was never in my journey. I was never even thinking about it. I was always involved with a lot of charity organizations here, like Ekal Vidyalaya, and We Care Charity. And I was just like more into that. And I was like, you know what, they're well established. I'll just do that. But I was always wondering, I'm like, how did they establish such a well-known organization? How did they do this? And for me, I never realized that I could be able to do that until, when you find a problem and you were like, you know what, I want to find a solution. So I never really had a turning point. My turning point was just like, as an American-born Indian, I want to be considered like a real Indian because I used to always be like saying like, oh yeah, you're such an ABC, you're such a coconut. You're not really an Indian, you're a fake Indian. And that used to make me so mad. Like it wasn't my choice that I was born in a country that's not India. So how do I promote that culture and how do I value that? Yes, American-born Indians are considered real Indians, and how do I change that narrative? So that's when I really started to think, I'm like, we need to put South Asians on the map in the American community, and also like, how do we bring our values into the Western world? So that's when I really wanted to provide a platform for that. And then just with all the networking, marketing research and everything, I just was like, you know what, I have to do it. And this was at the right time because that's when COVID went away. Well, not went away, but we went to our new normal and people were looking for that in-person connection. So I think turning point was just like a bunch of things added on. And this was something that I had to do for the Boston community. And I'm so happy I did that because many people are benefiting towards it. And Many of the older generation now want to support the youth because we're the face of the South Asian culture and we're the people that will take the community to the next level. So as a leader, I think I've learned a lot because of this organization and how I navigate as a founder CEO. One thing I've learned about is that you always have to be an active listener. You always have to listen to what your members want so that you can cater towards what their wants and needs are. Because if you're not catering towards something that they don't want, it's going to obviously be a failure. So you always have to ask your members about what they want to see, and then that's when you can make initiatives or events based on that to give them the best benefit. And as a leader, I think it's really important not to just delegate or not just to like say, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing this. It's all about being a change agent and it's all about how you can empower and motivate communities. Because once you empower and motivate communities, that's how we can change this community. It's not all about like, oh, delegating, like being a manager is someone like that just needs to manage something and look at things at a short-term scale. I think once you look at the bigger picture and you look at a futuristic mindset and saying, how can I scale my organization and how can I bring this to the future and think 5 years down the line, I think that's a really empowering thing. And that's something that I had to learn. And I think it's just really important to empower my community members and also how do I empower my board of advisors? I have an advisory team that is filled with individuals that are highly motivated, highly accomplished in what they have done in the community. So how do I get them to get involved and how do I get them to think outside the box? And I think just becoming a leader has made me such a better person overall because that's improved my leadership skills, my communication, my decision making, and just really like how I can be an empathetic leader because when you show empathy to your members, they know that you care. And they know that their values and their feedback really does value as an organization. So, I just really think that when you're becoming a leader, you always have to think about your members and who your demographics are so that you can have a really enriching experience and you could have a really great organization. So I think when I want to balance between my professional and personal goals, it's all about time management. It's all about how I can effectively manage my day. I think it's really important that in healthcare, right? Obviously, DEI is going to be a big thing. Like, how do I motivate, like, with patients that are in minorities? How do we find out their social economic status? How do we understand their cultural differences? Because Western medicine is so much different in different parts of the world and how they treat healthcare. So I think once we understand that, that's how I can kind of merge the two. But obviously, when I want to manage the professional and my personal goals, I try to keep that a little bit separate because then I can able to give my 100% on everything. But at the end of the day, I think cultural identities and healthcare go hand in hand because at the end of the day, you're treating people that are of different cultures. So, I mean, it's really cool to see that little merge, but yeah, I think time management is like the best way to do that. And how do you effectively prioritize your day? I'm a big believer in making to-do lists and prioritizing what to do each day. And also like making sure that I have time for my family and friends as well. Because I have a really close relationship with my parents as well. So shout out to them. They are the reason why I am here. And my mom and dad are extremely supportive and they know what I do and they know why I'm passionate towards it. So I think when you have a great support system at home and even my friends, they all support me. And also being able to manage yourself individually, I think all of that makes the balance perfect. Like my family is my biggest support, my biggest motivators, my biggest cheerleaders, and I wouldn't be the person who I am today if it wasn't for my parents. So I give them a lot of credit. We have a lot of social media presence through WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Instagram is my biggest source of channeling. But in terms of the networking in the WhatsApp community, we do have a channel for job search and interviews. So people that need jobs, they can just reach out on that platform, that chat within the community and that's how people can figure out, oh, this person needs a job. Let me reach out to them. My company is offering a referral. And then once I hear that, oh, someone got a job because of my organization, I always like to have that as a testimonial saying this is what real term benefits my YIP is performing. So once people hear about those stories, that's when they get more motivated. So I think the systems is more social media focused. It's more a chat focused on how you can really network and how you can put yourself out there saying, hey, I need a job, I need help. And people coming and saying, okay, I need to hire this person. So I think like that I've created like that. And then when people hear about the success, and that creates more of a generation of people that want leads. Like I'm a big believer. I feel like I don't know, but I think the youth here are quite lazy. They just want to talk. They don't want to quite action. They don't want to perform the action that they need. So I think like creating these platforms and creating like something like, okay, hey, you can message this on this platform. That's some action that you have to take. You can't just be like, oh my God, I need a job. I need a job. It's all about that action that comes after that and how you take matters in your own hands. So when you have given them these platforms, they need to take it on their own hands and be like, hey, I need this for myself. Let me do it. Let me put myself out there because I feel like the youth here, it's a struggle. And a lot of people just talk. They're like, we want to accomplish this. We want a high paying, accomplished job. But how are you going to do that? You need to work hard in order to get that. So that's why like I've created all this. I'm like, this is your solution to your problem. Now take matters in your own hands and run with it. Yeah, so I don't have a vetting process as such because I want to be inclusive for everyone. So basically, anyone that's young of Indian origin that are young professionals, typically the demographic is between 22 to 45. But I just think that whoever it feels young at heart, I don't want to obviously exclude the aunties and uncles because they could be really great mentors to the young professionals, because they have like, more experience than we do. So that would be a great mentor-mentee relationship. So I just say that whoever is young at heart and whoever thinks is that wants to be part of this is more than welcome to come. I will never exclude anyone for anything because I want to create opportunities for everyone and I want to be inclusive for everyone. So there's not really a venting process, but it just has to be an Indian born or not Indian born, but an Indian person who was is living in the New England area. That's all the requirements there is. So that's basically it. I don't have a vetting process for a reason. So my parents are very involved with the Indian community. So basically we know a lot of the aunties and uncles here. And I kid you not, I'm close to a lot of them because I learned so much from each one of them. I love hearing their stories. I love hearing their advice and what they're dealing with in their workspace. So even if I have a lot of friends in my age, I love talking to my mom's friends and my dad's friends because they've accomplished a lot on their own, and I really get motivated and inspired once I hear about what they do. So that's why I always like to have that relationship between the older generation and the younger generation because you can really learn a lot from the older generation and how their experiences shaped who they are today. For your question, I think recognition and getting all these awards, like I got the governor's citation from Maura Healey, and I got recognized from the U.S. Senate from Elizabeth Warren. I think those are really cool, and I really do appreciate that they're appreciating all the work that I'm doing for the New England community. But again, I don't do what I do because of awards. I don't do it for my own recognition or my organization recognition. At the end of the day, my core focus is how do I create an impact in the community? How do I make sure that the community is in good hands and how we can make it stronger? So once I make an impact, I love that's like my success. I don't do this work because of getting awards or getting into these prestigious lists. I think those things are great, but honestly, like that's not why I do what I do. But once people hear that, okay, now the government is recognizing the work I'm doing and they're recognizing the organization, obviously the credibility and the branding towards an organization increases and people look at it in a more serious way. But honestly, like I love getting the recognition. I mean, it's a great feeling that, okay, I'm getting recognized for what I'm doing, but that's not what my pure passion and love is. I think the pure passion and love comes into community impact. And when I'm hearing the success stories, that's the words that I like more. So, yeah, so I think that people will view it more seriously because, again, that adds on to your branding. Like once people get recognition with awards and you're adding it to your portfolio, I think it's really nice to see that. But honestly, that's not what I do for. First of all, let me go through the family. So when I told my parents about this, and when I told my family in India, my parents' side, my mom, my dad and mom's side, they were all very supportive. My parents are my biggest motivators and cheerleaders. My mom is actually the one who told me that, okay, you can do this. She was a very good, encouraging person to have. And even my dad too, he's such a big supporter in what I do. So I feel like it was a great positive outlook on towards that. And they were all like supportive. They were like, this is something that we can see a need for. Like, why don't you just do it? So they've always been supportive towards my journey. In terms of my friends, obviously, when you create something and you become a little bit more successful than them, or more accomplished in what you've done, obviously, with this Indian community, right, there's always going to be a competition. So some of my childhood friends that I've known for like all my life, they stopped talking to me because they were like, oh my gosh, she's accomplishing more than we have. But honestly, anyone can do that. Anyone can just be like, okay, why don't I create a solution? Why don't I create a more success for themselves? And they could have benefited towards it. But you know what? You win some, you lose some. And honestly, with Indian culture, I think competition is a lot because when parents and stereotypes are like, when parents are like, oh, this beta is doing this, what are you doing with your life? So I think, comparisons and competition is definitely prevalent in the Indian community. So definitely a lot of my friends that I had before my YIP journey and before I even had a full-time job, I think they all just went away. But then towards my journey, I really gained a lot of cool people and accomplished people. So obviously my friend circle changed. The uncle community were very supportive in what I do. Quite a bit of friends were actually really supportive in what I do. So I really do appreciate and I value them. But obviously, when you accomplish more, then you're gonna lose people because of jealousy and, because of the Indian competitive way that we are. And, it's sad, but you know what? You have to just deal with it. You just have to be like, okay, cool. Um, it's fine, and you just have to continue doing what you're doing. I think if I have my parents' support, I'm good. I really, or I just think that like friends will come and go, but your parents will be there no matter what for you and your family. And so my mom's side and my dad's side, they're very supportive. So as long as I have that, and I'm good mentally myself, that's all I need. And
Um,
also obviously God too. God, like I am a big believer in God, and as long as I have God's wish with me, then that's all that matters. Obviously, with being in this community, right, there's obviously going to be competition, and there's always going to be someone that wants to create their own thing, which I don't mind as long as we can collab. I'm a big believer in collaboration, not competition. I think that's really important. But to answer your question about where I see myself in 10 years, I really want to strengthen young Indian professionals of New England more and create more initiatives. I want to collaborate with more Asian populations. So I have collaborated with a few organizations that are not of Indian origin that are Asian, so that we create more of a cross-cultural collaboration. So I want to see like more cultures in the Asian or even in the American space as well to get everyone together to create a better enriching platform. And also, I really do want to see this going nationwide. I think just not Indians. I think there's a lot of Indians that are in Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Houston, and SF and all that area in California. So I feel like if we merge everyone together, we would create such a strong platform in the US field at least, and maybe internationally, like London. I just went to London a few months ago, and their Indian population was crazy. So if we can create even an international or collaboration or international presence and make Yip of the world, I think that'll create such a great extensive network. And I really do see this growing. I do see more initiatives coming out of it. I do want to tap into the mental health space because I think that's a really prevalent topic in Indian youth. So just more in the Indian culture and as a person, I really want to promote South Asian culture in the Western world and how we can, create into the main markets as well. So as an individual, I see myself doing more work in the South Asian platform as well as in the healthcare industry. So I do see this with consistency, anything is possible. And I just want to create more impact in our society.